Hi everyone, it's Laura here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is part of the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop, which is an event where many crafters will share their inspiration and there will be some giveaways too. And my inspiration for today is this cute shadow box card that I created with stamps and dies by Fawn. To build the body of the shadow box, I started by die cutting some patterned paper using the Fawn shadow box dies. The paper here was part of the Really Rainbow collection, the 6x6 one by Fawn, and I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine twice, because this way I will create the front and the back of the shadow box. The die cuts the basic shape of the shadow box and also creates some score lines, which I am now reinforcing with a score tool. And then off camera I die cut some paper from the Fawn watercolor wishes collection, and I'll be using it for the inside of the shadow box to create a background. I also need to die cut an opening in the front of the shadow box. And for that I'm using the scalloped rectangle die. This was part of the Shadow Box Ocean add-on by Fawn, but you can use the stitched rectangle die that's present in the main Shadow Box card die set, or you could use the die that's included in the Rainbow add-on kit, also by Fawn, which is the die set that I used to cut these cloud borders. There are two different shapes and I cut two of each. So I ended up with 4 different cloud borders, which I'm shading with my Distress Oxide in Spun Sugar and my blending brushes by scrapbook.com. The paper that I die cut my clouds from is Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm using my blending brushes rather than the blending foams, because this will help me get a very soft and very delicate blending, which was exactly the kind of look I was going for my card. Once I was done shading my clouds, and while my Distress Oxides hadn't dried yet, I brushed some Perfect Pearls in the color Perfect Pearl on my clouds to add a little bit of subtle shimmer to them. And then I die cut a rainbow out of some more Bristol Smooth cardstock using another one of the dies in the Fawn Rainbow add-on kit to the Fawn Shadow Box card. And I'm going to use Distress Oxides and my blending brushes again to add color to these rainbow elements. I used squeezed lemonade for my yellow, cracked pistachio for the green. I then used peacock feathers for the blue, and then I moved on to worn lipstick for my pink, and finally shaded lilac for the purple. This was some very quick blending, and again using the blending brushes helps me not bend the cardstock because I have these very thin strips. And here I wanted to show you a little hack to glue down your rainbow in place. So what I did is I took the piece of cardstock out of which I had die cut my rainbow, and I adhered it temporarily to some copy paper using some repositionable tape adhesive. And then I'm going to use my tweezers and the Studio Katia glue to adhere the rainbow to the copy paper. I'm doing this rather quickly because if any of the glue oozes out, I'm risking to glue down the cardstock to the copy paper. So once I have everything in place, I'm going to peel off the cardstock and I'm going to trim off the excess of the copy paper. And this basically creates a solid rainbow, which is a little bit easier to handle compared to the individual stripes. Because this project is all about rainbows, unicorns and glitter, I decided to add some shimmer to the rainbow using a Spectrum Noir clear overlay pen. I coated the entire rainbow going stripe by stripe and making sure to clean off my brush pen between each color, and then I moved on and started working on my images. The stamp set that I'm using today is called A Little Sparkle, and it was new with the May 2019 release by Fawn. I stamped my images on Bristol Smooth cardstock with scrapbook.com premium hybrid black ink, And then I'm going to do some watercoloring with Distress Oxides. The coloring was really quick, and all I did was I smooshed my Distress Oxides ink pads onto my glass mat, and then I picked up the pigment with a Spectrum Noir clear overlay pen and added shading to the image. And by using the Spectrum Noir pen, I am also adding some nice and fun shimmer to the images. While I go ahead and finish my coloring, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop. This is a celebration of card making video tutorials, and a group of talented crafters with different styles and different skill levels are coming together and sharing card making inspiration for you. This can be a great opportunity for you to discover new channels to follow, and this also gives the chance to some of these channels to work towards reaching their monetization goals. There are also a lot of giveaways along the hop, and these were sponsored by some amazing companies that very generously decided to donate some prizes. What you need to do is to leave a comment under the videos that you'll watch. And you don't have to comment under every video to enter, but the more you comment, the higher your chances to win. And also please mention in the comments whether you are US based or international, because there are some restriction on physical prizes for international participants. I am also giving away a $25 gift certificate to scrapbook.com, and in order to enter you need to leave a comment down below. And also this is not mandatory, but if you're new here, well, first of all, welcome, and if you enjoyed this video you can decide to support my channel by subscribing. I will write all this information in the description box down below, so make sure to check that out for all the details. And there you will also find a list of all the products that I used to create today's card, as well as obviously a link to the next stop in the hop. Coming back to the card, once I was done coloring the images, I fussy cut them with my EK Success Cutter B scissors. There are dies available for this stamp set, but I don't have them, so I am cutting it by hand. It was just a couple of images and it didn't take too long. And these scissors make it really easy to fussy cut. They were a real game changer for me. At this point, I started putting my shadow box together, and the first thing I did was to adhere the rainbow to the front of the shadow box. I still needed the sentiment though, and I decided to stamp it on one of the cloud borders. This will also go on the front of my shadow box, together with the unicorn that is not glued down yet, but I was using as a placeholder to figure out how to position my sentiment. The sentiment is also part of the A Little Sparkle stamp set by Fawn, and I stamped it with scrapbook.com Premium Hybrid Black ink. Before assembling the shadow box, I adhered the sky background to the inside portion of my back half of the shadow box. And then I'm going to use some 1/8 of an inch Scor-Tape and add it to all the flaps, so the ones on the cloud borders and the ones on my shadow box card. For the cloud border that will go on the front, which is the one with the sentiment, I could have trimmed off the flaps and adhered it flat to my shadow box directly, but I thought by adhering it this way it would add a little bit more dimension, because the border pops out a little bit and I really like the effect. To put my shadow box together, I'm going to start by adhering the two halves to each other, and then I'm going to decorate the shadow box with the cloud borders. I am deciding on the positioning and I am adhering them to one of the sides of the shadow box. So this is the inside of the shadow box, and the panel in the end will be the right panel of the shadow box itself. I decided to add two cloud borders, and I am gluing them at different heights and at different depths inside my shadow box. And then I'm going to close the left side on top of the clouds so that they stick there. And finally, I'm going to close the shadow box by folding the front over the left side. I have the double-sided tape there so that everything sticks down nicely. And this is the shadow box ready. At this point, I can dress it up with my images, and I'm going to adhere the unicorn right above the sentiment and one of the fairies on the top of the rainbow. I decided that I wanted a little bit more going on, so I took the Sun and Moon dies by Fawn and I die cut some more Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I added color to it with Distress Oxides in Squeezed Lemonade and Dried Marigold. I adhered the two parts of the sun together, and then I added the sun to the very back of the shadow box so that it overlaps a little bit with the clouds and with the rainbow. I also decided to add in another fairy, so I quickly colored it again with Distress Oxides, and then I glued that to the bottom part of the rainbow, and that finished off my shadow box card. And here is the final result. I was trying to catch the light for you to show all the shimmer and all the sparkle, because in real life it's really pretty and it shows much more. As you can see, you can fold the shadow box so that you can mail it without any problem, and I think this will have such a surprise effect on the recipient. And that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to check the description box down below for more information about the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop and for the full list of supplies. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you guys soon with the next video. Ciao!